Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to use your TI to help you find some measures of center and variation. A lot of these words you've heard of before, mean, median, mode, probably even range, and those are things you all know how to calculate by hand, but when you have a lot of data, it just takes a lot of time. Variance, standard deviation, those are probably words that you have heard of, but you haven't ever had to calculate it by hand until now. So to calculate standard deviation by hand is a long process because first you need the average, and then you got to subtract that average from each individual number in your set, square that difference, add it up, take the square root. It's quite the process. So what we can do is we can take a data set, not in numerical order, it could be in any order, put it into our calculator, and we can get all of those numbers at once. So in your calculator, we're going to spend a lot of time in the stat menu right here and in second vars, which is the distribution menu. For right now, and for most parts when you're crunching a lot of data, you're going to need to go into stat and then edit the data that is in the list. We're always going to go to list 1. If you have stuff in list 1 already, what you can do is highlight it and then either delete each number one by one, but normally what I do is I go up to L1, highlight it, and then hit clear, and then enter, and it will take care of the whole list. If you delete list 1, you'll have to hit second, plus sign, 7, 1, 2 to clear it and to get it back. There's probably a shorter way, but that's the only way I know. So hit stat, hit enter for edit, and I'm going to type all of these numbers in. So just say 75, enter, 91, enter, and keep doing that. I have a keyboard, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. That's the nice part of using the virtual calculator, is that you don't have to actually hit the buttons. You can type it in using that keypad. And hopefully I'm putting in all the right numbers, and there we go. You'll see that the list will tell you how many things in the list. So this 0 is in the 15th spot, so I have 15 numbers in my list. Once it's in there, I'm going to hit second mode to go out to the main screen, and that data is going to stay in there until you either clear it, overwrite it, or clear your whole calculator with that whole second plus sign routine. So now what I want to do is I want the calculator to get all those measures of center and variation for me. There's some that it will do most of them, but it won't do all of them. Hit stat, go over to calc, and we're going to use this first one right in here, one var stat, so one variable statistics. Hit enter, and we'll pull it back to the main screen. It will automatically go to L1, that list 1, to get the data. Hit enter, and a bunch of stuff is going to pop up. This X bar up here is your average for the set, so a 216 and about 2/3, right, or a 216.7 depending on where you round as your average. Skip these two. That some of the x's and some of the x squareds, that's a part of the formula for the standard deviation. I'm sure you use it for things later on in like a 2-variable stat situation, but we're not going to use it at all. What we're really happy about is this S of X and this sigma of X. This S of X, which is pretty much what you're always going to want to go in and pull out, is your standard deviation for the sample. So if I was to go through the process of saying 75 minus a 217, square that difference. 91 minus 217, square the difference. Add that all up and do that whole big long formula, you will get a 105.77-ish. The sigma looks at it as if that was the entire population. And the difference between the two formulas, you might remember, is that for S of X, for the standard deviation for the sample, we divide by n minus 1. So I would divide by 14, because I have 15 things in my sample. If it were the whole population of everything in the world that I could collect about this, flights from a space shuttle program, according to the question, then my standard deviation would be a little less, a 102.2-ish, because I would divide by the 15. So n is the 15, that's how many things you have in your sample. See this little arrow here? We're going to be able to scroll down and get some more stuff, but the only trick is, once you scroll down, sometimes you can't scroll back up. Like if you go too far, it won't let you back up. So if you need the average and standard deviations, jot those down and then start the scroll. There's the minimum, There's the quartile 1, which we'll talk about in the next section in 3.4. There's your median, sometimes we call it quarter 2. There's quarter 3, and there's the maximum. This number here, these 5 numbers here are called the 5-number summary. You'll use those in 3.4 to make a box plot, which I'll show you how to do in the calculator in another video. Now notice it doesn't give you the range. This question says, what's the range? Now it doesn't give me the range, but it does tell me the max and the min. So then all I have to do is subtract. 382 minus 0, well, that's still 382. The variance for the sample, it doesn't give me that either. Ooh, let me go back up. But it does give me the standard deviation. And the standard deviation squared is the variance. And they want it rounded to 1 decimal place, so 111, 11188, I think it was a 7. 0.7. There's my variance. Truthfully, nobody really cares much about the variance. The only reason we put the variance is because I need it to get the standard deviation. That's why the calculator will give you the standard deviation and not the variance. Standard deviation is usually what we want. Variance is just an end to a means. My standard deviation, 1 decimal place, is a 105.8. 105.8. And that is how you use 1 vars. Is the lowest duration time unusual? Yeah. Because, I mean, it's not, you're not flying if you're in the air for 0 minutes, but it's also unusual because it's going to be more than 2 standard deviations away from the average. My average, and I can't go back up, was a 216. 2 standard deviations below will put me in a negative, and you can't fly backwards in time. Spaceship, not a DeLorean, so that guy's going to be unusual. And that is how you use 1 vars to find some measures of standard deviation and measures of center.